Welcome back to Morning Joe. Beautiful shot of the Capitol as I just went over to the fax machine. And Mika just faxed her must-read op-ed in all the way. She's in Nice. Comes straight from Nice.
Unbelievable.
Mika's home office in Nice, the south of France. I didn't even know it was a good place to go in January.
Yeah, January, not so good, but...
So why is she there?
She doesn't have to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's got that...
Smart.
She's got that villa.
You got to use the villa.
I didn't know there were like 30,000 square
staff.
foot villas. Staff.
People to look after her.
You know, she will tell you that she is doing this. It's like Downton Abbey.
Yeah, she's.
You keep the villa in the south of France going on because it's for the staff. It's for the little people.
Obligation. Yeah.
It's exactly
for the small people.
Let's believe she's in it for the little people. And so Mika had one of her little people, I guess, from the south of France, fax this to me. And she's picked out Peggy Noonan's must-read op-ed from the Wall Street Journal, which is delivered in Nice. Lessons conservatives need to learn from Peggy, our dear friend Peggy. Some conservatives are saying Mrs. Clinton looked unhinged, angry, in their dreams. She came across as human and indignant and emerged untouched. Whatever there was in the Benghazi balloon leaked out. All this looked like another example of mindless, personal entrepreneurialism of the Republicans on the Hill. They're all in business for themselves. They make their speech, ask their question, and it's not connected to anybody else's speech or question. They aren't part of something that moves and makes progress. Minority parties can't act like this in such a slobby, ununified way. Hill Republicans continue not to understand that they're the face of the party when the cameras are trained on Washington. They don't understand how they look, which is like ants on a sugar cube. Huh. And Richard Wolff, as we read Peggy Noonan's words and we see Hillary Clinton's testimony, some of which I didn't buy, for good reason. And we can get into that later if somebody wants to. But we see their intemperate remarks, even about the Secretary of State's emotions. I wonder if they've seen Ms. Clinton's standings in the poll. You know, the latest poll has her at a 67% favorability rating. And wonder if they really think that they're going to draw blood by making intemperate comments. Peggy's exactly right. This is a party that's not unified. We've got a lot of solo players who make a lot of money, raise a lot of money, saying stupid things that harm the party.
Right, this does get back to Bobby Jindal saying, well, let's not be the stupid party here. But, you know, it's not just going up against Hillary Clinton with high popularity numbers. It's that she had a strong sense and justified sense of righteous indignation here. And it was about the lives of the people who were lost. So to the extent, and it's fairly limited, but to the extent that those Republicans who were out there on their, personal mission on Benghazi, that they had any justification for pursuing this in the way they did, it was about the lives of the people who were lost. And here you're going up against Hillary Clinton, who was really very genuine in saying that she was moved and that their obscure, arcane questions about Sunday talk shows were not nearly as important as the security questions and about the people whose lives were lost. So, she outmaneuvered them. She outmaneuvered them with genuine feeling. And people across Washington need to understand that voters respond to genuine emotion as opposed to the games they're playing around talking points.
And Harold, give her due. She's been a great Secretary of State. You can do that as a Republican. You can say that you're moved by her own heartfelt emotion over the death of her friends and the ambassador. You can do all of that, but you can quietly, and I think more persuasively, ask the question of Secretary Clinton. Secretary Clinton, we respect you so much, and we know you did everything you could do. Could I ask, though, why didn't you pay more attention to the individual cable that came in from the ambassador before he died. And then, of course, that's when she came back, and they actually had her on the defensive. And then she, I get millions of cable. If they had not shifted into overdrive, they could go, yes, you do get millions of cables every year addressed to you. But you don't get even a dozen cables addressed to you from an ambassador in a war zone telling you that his life's on the line. Mm-hmm. I respect you, Madam Secretary.
She outmaneuvered them, not only with emotion, but with leadership. I think Peggy's point that the discombobulated state of Republicans, there's a disconnect between what they're asking. They seem not to have an overall overarching agenda other than, again, to score personal points themselves. And what I never got out the hearing, I wanted to hear, and I thought she did a very good job. I thought, and would love to have that conversation later. I don't know where she had deficiencies, but I would love to have heard the Republicans say, tell us how we can know going forward that cables like this coming in,
right,
someone will see. And two, what steps are being taken and what can Congress do to ensure that you have the resources going forward? That would have been a win-win for Republicans and Democrats.
It would have
and
been
the country
good.
Would have felt better.
And Steve, we got to go, Steve, but there were great questions Republicans could have asked. They should have just stayed on it. You got
calmly.
A cable. Calmly. I respect you, Madam Secretary, okay? And I know you would have done everything you could do to protect these people. But you've got to admit, when you get a cable from an ambassador that died soon after saying he needed security and you ignored that, and he'd been telling people on the Hill he needed more security, they should have gone that way instead of questioning whether
that was the one substantive
piece
piece of the whole testimony where they had some room. Not that she had to personally have looked at that cable, but if she said, look, I get 1.4 million cables, so fine. Well, who's in charge of reading cables? Isn't there somebody who should have read this cable?
Who tells you, there's an ambassador in a war zone that says his life's endangered. Right. All right, still ahead, we've got the New Yorker's Dexter Filkins, moderator of Meet the Press David Gregory, and the Washington Post, Gene Robinson. We're back in a moment.